Woo! Hey guys, my name is Andrew and welcome back to my channel. If you guys are here for the first time, my channel is all about building my R32. We have been obviously working pretty busy on this car, getting everything set up for hopefully the 2020 show season. We'll see if this actually comes, but it should be definitely pretty interesting. I got a few things planned and they should be coming in pretty soon for the parts, and we can get the whole entire braking system finished on the R. So hopefully that will come together pretty soon. But today we are going to be taking a different route with this video. If you guys have seen or been around this channel for a while, you all know that I've had an old R32. Let's open this. Well, this is the new R32 in here, but the old R32 was my dream affordable car, and I loved that car to death. Sadly, probably about 2 years ago now, I should have sell that car. I had some other payments I needed to take care of, so I decided it was the right time to move off of that car. So today, what we are going to be doing, I know some of you actually been asking for this for a long time, this video. We're going to go over everything it cost me personally to build that car, from the purchase to all the parts I've ordered, and then finally what I end up selling everything for and getting to the net loss or net profit on that build. I don't know what you guys think. What you guys think that total net profit or loss is going to be? Put it in the comment section down below. I'd love to see what you guys think this whole entire last car cost me. I've looked at the numbers. It's pretty bad. So let's go ahead and let's jump into this. Okay guys, so we are back inside. Let's start with what you all want to know. How much my R32, at least my old R32, cost. So beginning with the purchase price of my old R32. When I purchased that car, it was in 2014. That car had 45,000 miles on it. It was already supercharged, had BBS, CH wheels, and also was on coilovers and had an aftermarket exhaust. So the car was pretty well modified to begin with, and for that car I paid $19,500 for the car, and I also got a set of stock Aristos for the R32. So I think that's a pretty decent price for the car with that many miles in 2014. So got the car, brought it home. I enjoyed basically that car for basically a full year without modifying it or really doing anything mechanical on that car. The first thing that I ended up doing mechanically to the car was I rebuilt the whole entire supercharger on the car. So basically that entailed getting the supercharger out of the car and replacing all the bearings and seals inside the supercharger. That cost me, I have my notes right here so we can actually see everything. It cost me $940 to replace everything on that supercharger, and while I was in there I also replaced motor mounts, which those motor mounts cost me $430. Once again, I was able to then enjoy the car for probably about another 6 months until I noticed the brakes were starting to squeal, and at that point I knew I needed to buy and upgrade at least the brakes on the car. So I went ahead, purchased new rotors, new pads, and also I flushed all the fluids on the brakes. That cost me $1,020 for that job. Loved the brakes, they were great. They were ECSTuning brand. That's why on this new build I went back with ECSTuning designed rotors, because I really liked how they performed on my old R32 and they held up very well. After that, I actually went ahead and purchased a serpentine belt for the R32 because the way my supercharger was set up, it was actually such an old belt that was on the car, and just the tensioning from unloosening the belt when I had to replace the supercharger basically made the belt start to fray in certain places. So once again, I went ahead and replaced the supercharger belt, and while I was in there, I also did an oil change, which that total came to $250. So not a horrible amount, but needs to be done, of course. After that, spent now probably another year not really modifying the car, and I just bought some small little odds and ends here, such as a license plate bracket. I also bought just some more oil changes for the car, which at that point the car then was at around 60,000 or 65,000 miles all on the car, which pretty good. Over 2 years I put about, 20,000 miles on the car, so 10,000 miles a year. At least I got to enjoy the car and really got to drive it. After this, that's when I kind of got the itch for modifying the car, and this is when I decided I was going to go full bore and really build a show car. My idea for this car was to be a mixture between performance and kind of the stance scene, because I had the supercharger in the car, but I really, at the time, didn't really want that much power out of the car. I thought the power that it had was good, it was fun, and it was reliable, and at the time I was at school, I didn't need something that was, 500 horsepower that would, knock my socks off. So I just wanted something really reliable, and so I thought that amount of power, which was around 350 wheel horsepower, plenty. I was good with that, and I wanted to try out the kind of the stance scene, see how that looks. So that's where I went ahead and I bought bags for the R32. I bought my rotiform wheels. I also bought adjustable control arms. So after all that stuff, that probably all cost me, I know it was $5,000 for the bags. That's the 3H setup plus also everything installed. At the time, the 3H setup was brand new, so it was definitely worth a decent amount of money at the time. So I had to get that installed. And then the wheels were another $3,000. And then I believe everything else I talked about right there, that came to about $900 for the control arms, sway bar end links, and tie-in rods, and all bushings also in the car. So I had to get that all squared away. I also then decided that I was going to upgrade certain parts on my supercharger. I went ahead and bought a Exit 9 cog pulley setup for the VF Engineering Stage 2 supercharger setup. This supercharger setup and this cog setup was amazing. I love this. This was probably, honestly, my favorite modification I did to my old R32. One, it got rid of all the belt slip that I was getting, so now I got consistently 8 pounds of boost when I was at redline on the car. That was amazing, because for probably about a year I was only running around 4 pounds of boost before this because the belt just kept slipping on the car. Then it also increased the supercharger whine and noise in the car, which I love that sound. It just sounded so different, especially coming out of an R32. You really didn't see many R32s one supercharged. And the funniest part, I'd go to shows and people would look at me and be like, "Hey, your power steering pump is broken, you gotta fix that," or something like that. I'd be like, "No, it's just the supercharger." So definitely had a lot of fun with the car and really enjoyed that aspects of the car overall. I also went ahead and replaced just normal maintenance items such as the water pump. The R32 has a plastic propeller from the factory. I upgraded it to a metal one because at the time my plastic propeller shattered, so I needed to go ahead and upgrade that. I also did a new thermostat on the car and a new thermostat housing. Did also a coolant flush when I was in there. What else did I have done? Did a new latch on the R32. I also had to buy a new cog belt for the supercharger after a few years of driving it. I think all that remaining came to about another $3,000-ish. So all of these modifications added up, they came to a grand total of $16,350. I basically spent the equivalent of buying another R32 in modifying my R32. But I really enjoyed it, and it was something I would do all over again if I could, and we'll see how this car goes. Maybe it'll be something similar to this new R32. So when it came time to actually sell my R32, I knew the most way I could get the most money out of the car was by parting parts of the car out. I knew I could part out the air ride suspension, I knew I could part out the sway bar end links, I knew I could part out the control arms, and also my rotiform wheels, and also my BBSs I know I could sell. So if I got rid of all that, I figured I could at least recoup some of the costs I spent building, at least, and modifying the car. So all those costs there together, I made $6,400 back from basically modifying my car and everything like that. Then it finally came time to put obviously the replacement parts of those in. So I went and bought an basically used lowering spring setup. I bought the stock control arms, the stock sway bar end links, and I put all that back in the car. That cost me all $500, so not too much for all those parts, luckily. Then finally selling the car. It took me about 6 months to sell my R32. I started trying to sell it in the winter, which is not the best time to obviously sell a car, but when springtime rolled around, luckily I was able to actually get the car sold then. I actually sold my R32 for around for actually $14,500. So as you can see, I definitely lost some money from what I originally purchased it for, but it was fine. I knew that at that point that was actually a really good deal for the car with it having 70,000 miles on it, but I needed the car gone. I moved down to New York City. I'm no longer at my parents' house anymore, and starting a new job, I could use that money to actually pay off some of my student loans, which that's mostly the main reason why I looked at selling that car at that point. So all in all, you guys would want to know probably whether I made money modifying my car or if I lost money modifying my car. You could probably all assume that I lost some money, but how much did I actually lose? So in total, I lost $14,950 modifying my old R32, which that's a lot of money. That is basically the equivalent of buying a whole nother R32 again. But do I regret that? No, I do not regret modifying and even losing that much money on my old car. I worked multiple jobs. I worked basically since I've been 10 years old, saving my money up along the way to afford a car like this one day. And I knew at least going in this direction, at least I could enjoy it and I wouldn't regret doing what I did. And I still have no regret today to how much I spent modifying the car. It was all my own money. No one helped me finance the car and modify it, which in the end, that's a really nice feeling, at least being able to build something by yourself with your own money and your own hard work and your hard effort putting in to build something. And it showed. People really appreciated the car. Went to shows, people really loved it. So I want to just kind of bring you guys this little snippet of how much went into really modifying my old R32, and kind of using that information, I'm going to go ahead and modify this other R32s to see how this car comes out. You know, this car could be better than that car, or could lose just as much money as I did on my old car. But I really enjoy doing this, and I'm doing this because I want to bring content to you guys and see what you guys think about all the content. So on that note, guys, we're going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little breakdown of all the expenses that went into basically building my old R32. You guys have been asking for a video about that car. Where has it gone? Why don't I have it anymore? And it's just simple. At the time, I could use that money for other things in life, and I needed to offload that car. So now that I'm at a better point in my life and I can actually afford to buy another car again, that's why I went out and bought another R32. I knew one day I'd have another R32, just didn't know how long it would take for me to get another one. So on that note, guys, we're gonna end it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys liked the video, go down below, subscribe to the channel, and like this video, and check out my other content. I got some all you need to know episodes. I've talked about the R32 already. I've talked about the GTI, the Golf R, and I have more content like that coming out. So I'd really appreciate if you guys check some of those videos out if you haven't yet. And also, like always, we have more build content coming soon. I have basically almost all the parts needed to finish the rear brakes, hubs, and wheel bearings for the R. I ran into a little snag on the front hub, which I'll explain in the next video, so definitely stay tuned for that install video to see what actually ended up happening. I think you guys will get a good kick out of it. So until next time, guys, my name's Andrew, and I'll see you guys in the next video.